The Incredible Shrinking Man becomes the Incredible Shrinking Man when he is on a boat with his wife, relaxing on vacation, when a mysterious fog washes over him while his wife is in the cabin. 6 months have gone by and he starts to notice that he isn't quite fitting into his clothing anymore. He voices his concerns to his doctor, but he's quite dismissive. People just don't shrink like that. But Scott does. As his condition gets worse, the doctors scramble to understand the issue and Scott becomes famous. But as time goes on, Scott gets smaller and the danger he's in grows bigger. The Incredible Shrinking Man is an outstanding achievement in visual effects. The main goal of this movie is to be a spectacle. You're supposed to be amazed at the creativity and the wonder that this movie exhibits. Throughout the movie, Scott steadily decreases in size, and they use every trick in the book to demonstrate it. The first half of the movie is focused on the mental drain it has on him and his wife, as they deal with the press and him feeling like a freak. He lashes out at her, and she stands by his side, urging him not to lose hope. The movie is paced very well here, with him steadily shrinking with each scene after another. The movie staggers a little bit when the doctors feel they've discovered an antidote that should cease his condition, and although it's extremely unlikely his effects are reversible, at least the damage is finally done. He's completely humiliated and feels isolated from the world, and one night he meets a woman working a side gig at the carnival who is also extremely short. She gives him motivation and expresses that life is still worth living with this disability. These segments of the movie break up the even pace it had earlier, and it has little relevance to the plot since it's completely separate from the main conflict of the film. It's all a false alarm. He isn't done shrinking, and just for a while you think he might start an affair with this woman, and that the movie might take a completely different direction. But none of that matters now. He rushes home in a panic where the rest of the movie will take place. Fortunately, the second half of the movie is much more fantastical and exciting than the first half. Every moment from now on will find new, clever, and creative ways to explore this premise. He starts living in the dollhouse, he has to survive the house cat, and he winds up getting trapped in the basement. His wife comes to the conclusion that he must have been eaten by the cat when she finds a bloody rag on the ground, and she intends on leaving home for good. But he's alive, and he just keeps shrinking, all while trying to find food, shelter, and facing dangerous obstacles made by the ordinary layout you would find in a basement. It turns into an adventure movie, with the main focus on simple survival. It's really fun, all the stuff they decide to do with this premise, but the pacing gets a bit rough. Since most of the second half takes place primarily in the basement, some of the segments start to feel a little stale, especially since he takes the same journey twice while down here, so the movie gets a bit repetitive too. But now after the second climb, he manages to fight and kill the spider that's been after him, and now he's small enough to fit through a window screen. It feels a bit like an ending to a Twilight Zone, with this movie centering around hopelessness and seclusion, and he just keeps shrinking. Losing his grip on reality and his sanity, he accepts his fate and welcomes it, as he shrinks into an unknown dimension. I don't think this could have had a better ending, or at least any other ending, since reversing the effects by some scientific miracle would have been a bit of a cop-out, and anything else would have been anticlimactic. This movie has one great concept, and it finds dozens of fun ideas to use it to its full potential. Small pacing issues aside, this movie's an exciting journey from start to finish, and the awesome use of practical effects and large props makes this movie very enjoyable. I actually wish there was more movies like this. Animation has always had an advantage for basing main characters on a much smaller scale, making a small space, like a kitchen or a living room, into a giant playground that lets your imagination run wild. There's a handful of live-action movies that have this same concept, but they're few and far between, at least movies I know about. The Incredible Shrinking Man isn't the first movie to feature miniature characters, but it's one of the first, and best. It takes full advantage of that idea and just totally goes with it. It may fall a little short in a few areas, but it's nothing short of incredible.